Safety and Homeland Security, the Tennessee Association of Broadcasters, and this station.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9 The Fan.
30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. It's the George Plaster Show, featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famers Kelly Holcomb and young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It is a beautiful Wednesday in Nashville, Tennessee, to the tune of 75 degrees. That's awesome. Welcome into adult spring break. A lot going on in our beautiful city. The SEC basketball tournament has begun. Arkansas, dadgum near, blew it today. Had a 20-point lead against South Carolina. In a minute, we'll tell you exactly how it turned out. I'll give you one hint. The 20-point lead went away. It went away quick. Anyway, I had the chance to be down at Bridgestone earlier today. It is so much fun. Basketball at this time of the year is terrific. Hope you're enjoying it. Basketball all over the country, tournaments everywhere. Kelly Holcomb was in the middle of Arkansas yesterday to watch his daughter play. Kelly, welcome.
George, I appreciate it. Yeah, it did not turn out well for my daughter.
So is their season done?
Not sure about that.
Yeah.
And I'm getting echo, Billy. I don't know why.
Maybe you need to clean out your ears.
Maybe. Go. I'm still getting. Tough. I don't know. They might be able to go to the WNIT, but I'm not sure about that. We'll see. I hope so for them. It was a tough night to end. I'm not sure.
It's hard to watch that, isn't it? When it gets to that.
It really is, because I tried to explain to her, and I tried to tell those kids over Riverdale when I coach, the finality of the moment. It's tough. And she's been playing basketball for 17 years of her life, and now it's just over, and she's not going to know what to do with herself.
Tell her to get in the sports talk business. It couldn't be that hard.
That's right. Her daddy's doing it. That's for sure.
Okay, let's check in now with Billy Derrick. Billy, this is a big day for March Madness scoreboard updates, isn't it?
It is. We got all kinds of basketball going on right now, not just here in Nashville, but as I try to sort through an apparent echo issue.
Is Kelly still getting an echo?
Yes.
He says yes. So working through that.
Okay.
Which we certainly do not want. That's something we cannot have.
Cannot.
We'll try to work on that. But we do have a March Madness scoreboard update to get to. It's brought to you by Kentucky and Gonzaga. These two national powers square off Friday, December 5th next season at Bridgestone Arena. Tickets go on sale this Friday at bridgestonearena.com.
No, last Friday.
Last Friday, my bad.
Hey, can I give you a little word about it?
Sure.
Less than 500 tickets remain. Thus, if you're thinking about doing what we're telling you to do it now. Don't wait.
All right, we've got a ton of basketball to get to as we kick it off with some scores from earlier today. In the American Athletic Conference, Charlotte beats Rice 64-61. Georgia Tech over Virginia in the ACC 66-60. Davidson beats Richmond 69-65 in the A10. Iowa State over Cincinnati by 20, 76-56 in the Big 12. In the Mountain West, San Jose State 66, Wyoming 61. And as George mentioned, Arkansas takes down South Carolina 72-68. The Hogs advance to play Ole Miss tomorrow in the first game of the day. We've got all kinds of action going on right now. Vandy and Texas in action as we speak. They're tied at 7. Kind of a sluggish, slow start to that one offensively with 14:43 to play. Grambling leads Southern 49-47 in the SWAC tournament quarterfinal. Fordham leads Rhode Island 82-70 late in that one in the A-10. North Carolina right now all over Notre Dame 58-40 in the second half of that one. At the half in the Big 12, West Virginia leads Colorado 29-23. Northwestern leads Minnesota 25-23 in the Big 10 tournament there in the first half. We've got lots of action coming up throughout the day today as well. So
we will try to get you another scoreboard update around 3:40.
There you go. So that's your first March Madness scoreboard update. We do have the update brought to you by Lori Burnett Leland. You can find her online at mortgageladyyusa.com or give her a call 615-969-4350. Gonzaga, after going 0-2 against St. Mary's in the regular season, they take down the Gales 58-51 to win their 20th conference title under Mark Few.
Amazing.
Unbelievable.
That part is amazing. Listen, for all the crap I give them about having never cut down the big net, their level of consistency. I mean, that stat, say that again.
20th, not consecutive, 20th conference title under Mark Few.
Whew.
Also, you had some more tickets punched last night. UNC Wilmington beats Delaware 76-72 in the CAA title. St. Francis of Pennsylvania. How about this score? They beat Central Connecticut State 46-43 in the NEC title. St. Francis's first tournament appearance in 34 years. So they win the NEC. Robert Morris beats Youngstown State 89-78 to win the Horizon. They are going dancing. I've got some more finals tonight. Southland Conference, McNeese and Lamar. In the Patriot League, Navy takes on American. And then in the Big Sky late tonight, Montana and Northern Colorado.
McNeese is Will Wade, isn't it?
Yes. And he is rumored to be in the NC State job.
Yeah.
So
I can definitely see that.
Yeah. Also, some NFL notes as free agency continues. The Titans have added wide receiver Van Jefferson, former Ravenwood and Ole Miss star, entering his 6th year in the league. He was with the Steelers last year, also spent time with the Rams and the Falcons. So with Nick Westbrook-Akine no longer with the Titans as he heads to Miami, they replace him with Van Jefferson, which I think is a good pickup.
So this is sort of the punch-counterpunch. You lose Nick Westbrook-Akine and you gain Van Jefferson. Is it as simple as that?
I think so. I mean, I would say Van Jefferson's a better receiver than Westbrook-Akine, too. So you sort of replace him with that.
Do you really think so?
I mean, Westbrook-Akine, he was good for the Titans, but talent.
Everybody found out he could make plays. Like Van Jefferson, he's a good player, but he's been with 4 teams.
Yeah. By the way, are you still getting an echo?
I am very bad.
Echo.
Do I need to go out and come back in?
Maybe try that.
Okay.
What Billy is hoping is that you go out and never come back.
That's fine.
Let's try that.
I'm just kidding.
Also, DeAndre Hopkins has reached a 1-year, $5 million deal with the Ravens. So D-Hop headed to Baltimore to play for the Ravens. Joey Bosa reached an agreement on a 1-year, $12.6 million deal with the Bills after being released by the Chargers.
Okay, time out there. To me, the whole thing in Buffalo, I hear all these people trying to crack on Josh Allen. Good Lord. Josh Allen's the only reason Buffalo's ever gotten close. It's been on defense that they haven't been good enough. If Joey Bosa stays healthy, then look out. That's exactly the kind of thing Buffalo needs, is an edge rusher that can get to a quarterback. I think it's a great move for Buffalo.
I think so, too. And I think that, like you said, meanwhile, Texas is all over Vandy right now. 15-7. Vandy can't hit the backside of a barn with 11.5 to play there until the half. But, yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I think as we try to get Kelly back in here. Any echo?
Let me see. Yeah, it's still echoing. It's killing me.
I think it's your fault.
We'll try to make an adjustment.
The last time you came over here, Billy, you messed everything up.
Oh, yeah, because we've had a lot of echo
I
issues.
shouldn't have let you in the gate. I shouldn't have let you in the gate.
Why do you have a gate? Are you worried about security? The paparazzi?
About 15 years had a situation that was kind of scary. So, yeah.
We're not making fun of that.
Yeah.
We wanted to have some fun, but not if it's for serious. That's right. Billy, you got anything else?
The Seahawks have signed Marquez Valdez-Scantling. He was released by the Bills in the middle of the season, and the Rams informed Cooper Kupp that he will be released.
I mean, I realize this is about money. Am I missing something? Cooper Kupp has a lot left in the tank.
Yeah, that's kind of no loyalty to an organization. We know that in sports now, but he kind of means so much to the Rams and everything that he's done. And now they just throw him out like a wet rag, man. Crazy.
So what's your feeling about what the Titans have done so far?
I don't know. Billy brought up the stat the other day with the offensive line about how many sacks he gave up the other day. So I think Vandy good. I think he's a pickup. I like Nick Westbrook and Kenny, but he's gone. We'll see how it works out. I don't know. I really don't know what you get until they get out there on the field and they start performing.
So we have traded punters, essentially. Stonehouse is gone, and he's probably thrilled because he damn near got decapitated by this organization a year and a half ago. He's got some faults in that he outkicks his coverage, and we all know it. But somebody is going to pick him up and teach him a few things, and he's going to be a damn good punter in this league.
I've never heard somebody say that the punter gets gone because he would outkick the coverage. But I don't know if I've ever seen a guy with a leg like that.
Woo. And somebody will jump all over him.
That's a weapon. That's absolutely a weapon.
You may not have heard it. If Joey Bosa is healthy, I think that's a great pickup for Buffalo. If he's healthy.
I do too. You got Von Miller on one side, you got Joey Bosa on that side. Yeah, I think that's huge for those guys, and that could get them over the edge when they have to play the Kansas City Chiefs.
That's what I think.
That's what they're looking for. I mean, that's what their aim was to go out and get a guy who can rush the passer. We know the guys inside are okay, but they couldn't get any pressure on anybody, and they were little up front. So I think Joey Bosa, if he can stay healthy, which has been a problem for him, it's going to be huge for the Bills.
A lot of people thought he'd end up in San Francisco with his brother, but he ends up going to Buffalo. Billy, anything else on your end?
No, Vandy just can't hit a shot.
What is it right now?
15-9. About 10 minutes in, about.
Okay, so we will try to go out to Bridgestone around halftime. Don't know if that's going to work out or not, but we will make the attempt to do it. As I mentioned earlier, I was out there for game one. I thought it was a surprisingly large crowd for the first game of a tournament. Number one, the lower bowl seemed to be completely full. From where I was at courtside, some people in the second deck, they did not open the upper deck, kind of pushed everybody downstairs. That probably will change tomorrow. It normally does in day number one. The other thing, Arkansas, and we're going to talk about this with Neil Price. This is the second game in a row that Arkansas has gagged a double-digit lead in the final 8 to 10 minutes. They are playing essentially with a 7-man crew. The 7 are really good, but the 7 appear to give out at the end of 30 minutes. Is John Calipari smart enough to figure that out? I have my doubts. But nonetheless, they move on. Who would they'd get Ole Miss, Billy, is that right?
Yep. Ole Miss tomorrow. I think they beat Ole Miss.
That'll be a war.
Yeah, that'll be. I mean, Arkansas is physical. They're not a 9 seed. They don't look like a 9 seed in this conference.
No, but somewhere in here, it seems my gut feeling is that Arkansas can go 2 rounds and that's it. They're not going to win this tournament, not with 7.
No, they don't have enough depth.
Anyway, after the break, our buddy Neil Price, who is the play-by-play voice of the Mississippi State Bulldogs, he was on the call for SEC Radio in Game 1, and he will join us from Bridgestone Arena when we come back. This is 94.9, The Fan.
New year, new priorities. Family and safety come first. If a car or truck accident disrupts your life, Bart Durham Injury Law is here to help. We're local, experienced, and ready to fight for you. Call 615-242-9000. Happy 2025 from Bart Durham Injury Law.
Attention college basketball fans. Kentucky and Gonzaga will square off Friday night, December the 5th at Bridgestone Arena, and you won't want to miss it. Tickets are on sale to the public at this very moment at BridgestoneArena.com and on the Ticketmaster app. It's 2 of the best programs in all of college basketball, and they're playing right in the heart of downtown Nashville. Act now. Tickets will be gone shortly, so you better act accordingly. It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com. involving production, manufacturing, coordinated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, 800 drivers. If you need their help, tell them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
On the road. As the SEC join us live from Walmart Broadway from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. While the best in fall hit the market. Your sports lives here. 102.5, 106.3, The Game Nashville Sports Network. George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Okay, we are back. And now I've got the echo. We're going to have some fun now. Let's say hello to Mississippi State play-by-play voice Neil Price, who joins us from Bridgestone Arena. Neil, I got the chance to hear you and Richard Williams Saturday on the way up to Cookeville to watch BGA play for a state title. You guys do a terrific job. I really enjoyed it. Enjoyed it.
I think the DJ remix.
Okay, I had a what he's saying because I'm getting that same echo that Kelly had earlier. Neil, if you can hear us, you now have done, by way of SEC radio earlier today, back-to-back games of Arkansas's where they have gagged huge leads in the second half. Is this just simply seven-man rotation, run out of gas?
I think that was part of it. And watching John L. Davis, it was like his legs were tired, shot second half. And he wasn't the only one. But when you're playing as hard as we're playing, and you're playing as mean stretch fully 7 guys, I think it's easy to get a leg down in. I think that's away from Arkansas. They played against them, and even today against Carolina, when they get on the line, they make his head.
I know that nobody's really going to remember this, but I'm impressed with the fact that at South Carolina, this guy got this team, that it's an awful season. You're 0-14 at one point, but it looked to me like in the last 3 weeks, they got a whole lot better. I give them a ton of credit for that.
I think they got some older guys on that roster playing with a lot of pride. I think Lamont Paris be one coach of the year. And the thing that they don't have the same kind of words they had a year ago. John's particular. They've still got him on the roster. I think it's a different team. But without him, they just have some kind of shooters. They don't have the guy that ends up there, perimeter, just got to go find him. And Arkansas got guys like that. I mean, a lot of games. John L. Davis had those. Wagner's one of those. And down the stretch, he's shooting too. So I think that's the difference. I mean, trying to get the line, Carolina owned anything. I think what they missed all is not kind of players.
Neil, I want to ask you about this before we get into the call tonight that you're going to have with LSU and Mississippi State. This is not our first rodeo. You and I have seen a lot of SEC basketball over the years. For me, I've never seen anything like the competition this season. Sitting at courtside every night, what has this been like?
Well, every night you show up, you think you're going to wind up with a pretty good game, because all these teams are deep. There's a lot of parity top to bottom. When you're talking about 1 through 16 now, I think that Texas and Oklahoma have been great additions. They've only added depth to a league that was already getting deeper year by year. It is the best top to bottom probably that I can remember since I've been working in it in the last 20 years. I asked Richard Williams a similar question on one of our recent road trips because he's obviously got a much different perspective having coached in this league. And I asked him, I said, is this the best it's ever been? And he said, I don't know. He said, because I can tell you a lot of nights when I was coaching that State would go up against a Rick Pitino coach Kentucky team, or they would go up against a Wimp Sanderson Alabama team. And he said, you'd have 10 or 11 NBA players on the floor in those games. Now, were there some nights that you were going to go up against somebody that you were going to overmatch? Sure. I'm not sure we have the same kind of players in terms of NBA potential. I don't think there are as many of those in this conference right now as there have been, say, in the late 80s, early 90s. But I do think top to bottom, in terms of everyone having 3 or 4 guys that can go, it's probably, from that standpoint, as good as it's been.
Neil, before I throw it to Kelly Holcomb, I want to ask you one more about your team. There are certain nights that I see you guys, and one in particular where you throttled Vandy at Memorial Gym, and you see all that athleticism that I'm saying, you know what, they could be a Sweet 16 team that nobody is thinking about. And then there are other nights that I'm not quite as sure about it. Kind of tell me what you think.
I think it's fair, what you just said. I think it's very fair because there are athletes up and down that roster, but there's a lot of inconsistency too. And that can be inconsistency with regard to shot making. That can be inconsistency with regard to defensive effort. And the really good teams in this league or any other league, for that fact, they're consistent in everything that they do, night in and night out throughout the course of the season. That, to me, is the piece that's missing. And you just never know from one night to the next what it's going to be because you're dealing with 18 to 22-year-old people. And they're at a stage of life where sometimes I don't think they know from one day to the next what their life's going to be like. I was there once. So I just chalk it up to that. You got to be more consistent. And when State comes out and they make some shots, their defensive effort is better when they're making shots. It's funny how that works. And they're pretty good.
Before I throw it to Kelly, any of you who happen to be in the car tonight, if you're traveling around Nashville or Middle Tennessee or wherever, tune in Mississippi State's broadcast. Neil Price, their play-by-play announcer, on the line with us. A very enjoyable listen. And, of course, Richard Williams, who was with us yesterday in the analyst panel. They do a really good job. You'll enjoy them. Kelly?
Neil, I hope you can hear me. We've had an echo problem, but we're good now. I just hear that. We're good. Good job, Billy. I give you kudos, man. Neil, how you doing, man?
I'm good, Kelly. I said a minute ago it sounded like somebody was remixing George with some music in the background. I just kept hearing like this sample of George, I don't remember what the word was, but I got a chuckle out of it.
And it wasn't a good mix either. When you're trying to mix George into something, that's not a good mix. You know what I'm saying?
No, but the music.
The KLF took Tammy Wynette. Remember this now. When I was a kid, the KLF took Tammy Wynette at a time when Tammy Wynette had kind of fallen off as a country superstar and made her relevant again with a club song. So who knows? Maybe we could find George at one of these clubs on Broadway or up here on Music Circle or somewhere, somebody sampling George Plaster. Who knows? The royalty opportunities are huge, George. Remember that.
Oh, I can use the royalties. I'm all into royalties. Bring them on.
I would pay to see that. So, Neil, let me ask you, we've talked about, and everybody says that, this is the best SEC conference this year that's probably ever been. And some are saying, I heard on the TV the other night, maybe ever. I don't know that. And you just talked about that. You don't know that. But with that being said, do you think the SEC can keep this up? With the transfer portal, with the NIL, obviously the SEC's got loads of money. Everybody wants to come to the SEC. Is this just a one-year deal, or can they keep this up for many years?
That's a great question, Kelly. I don't know, in the climate that college sports is in right now, how anybody's going to be able to keep it going consistently. Because at some point, if you're in the business world, you've heard about the old profit and loss statement. You keep looking at that, and when it keeps going in the wrong direction, at some point you got to start making tough choices. And we're not to that point yet with the NIL and everything else, but at some point there are going to have to be some people who sit down in a room and have a reasonable discussion about, okay, how do we as a college sports league or college sports across the country, how do you put this into some kind of terms where it can be sustained? In the short term, sure, but I mean there are a lot of haves in this league, schools that have big budgets that run athletic departments that I think they're making some hard choices right now too. Or they're starting to look down the line and they go, hey, wait a minute, we got to do this too because it's tough to keep this going. So I don't know the answer to that right now, but I don't think 10 years from now it's sustainable. So I'd be curious to see where all the smarter people in the room get together, what they come up with.
With you, that leads me into another question because you kind of gave me a lead into something. But where you're at Mississippi State, you've got the Kentuckys of the world, you got Tennessee's, Alabama in football, you got all these big time schools that are willing to spend money. Can Mississippi State, can they get to that level, you think, at some point in time?
I will tell you that, what little I know about it, and I was stunned. They're actually about middle of the pack, SEC-wise, with regard to how they're able to hold their own in that space. And I don't know that I ever would have guessed that. That says a lot about people who are in the donor base, people who are running the collective, and now even people, I think, as you move over and look in the athletic department now with your fundraising arms and things that are going on there and how that stuff continues to evolve. It says a lot about all the people who are involved in those groups that they care enough about the product and they want to be competitive that they're finding a way to make it happen. So, but again, 10 years from now, can people do that? And the other piece of it is it's like anything else. If you're a fan and you're contributing to it, it's like anything else. What kind of return are you getting on your investment? Are the teams as successful as you think they should be because you've written a check to help finance whatever it is? If you're happy with that, you'll continue to do it as long as the means allow you to. If you're not, then you'll make a decision. That's kind of where it comes to. So I don't know. I don't mind telling you guys on me personally, I don't like where we're headed. As something I grew up with that I enjoyed for the atmosphere of it, enjoyed being around it, and what I thought separated it from pro sports. Now that line is so blurred that I just don't. I hope that we find a way to correct it and we get some kind of regulation where what made college sports fun won't taint it for people or ruin it for a new generation of fans who won't know what we all grew up with or what you competed in, Kelly. They won't know that, I'm afraid, and that's what makes me really sad about all of it.
Well, it seems like I belabor this point all the time, everybody that we have on here, and I'm sure people get tired of hearing me say this, but with the way that stuff is now, and do you ever think that the fans at some point, because college sports is where it's at. I mean, I love watching college football. I enjoy watching college basketball, college baseball, all these things that, college baseball has gone crazy with ESPN and their coverage, even college softball. I watch some college softball, but like, do you think, and we saw it a little bit last year with the college football playoff. At some point, I was so over watching college football because I think it needs to be finished around the 1st of January, and then the rest of the time until the end of football season is for the NFL. But do you think that fans at some point are going to get upset and just say, hey, I'm done with this stuff because all these kids are getting paid all this amount of money and I'm over it, I'm tired of it, I'm going to stop watching it?
Not as long as their team is the one that's winning, because I just think that's human nature.
Good answer.
I mean, that's just it. I mean, I think that's it. But there are a lot of things now too. You know, to your point about the length of the season in college football, the growing length of the season now in college basketball. I mean, there have been seasons in the not too distant past where the first basketball game, the first regular season game, was in late October. Television finances a lot of what happens in college athletics now. So they also get to dictate when a lot of these things, you know, these events take place. So it's all of it is so interconnected right now. And I'm with you. I would love it if the college football season ended right around New Year's Day, because that's what I grew up with. That's when the biggest games were played in the postseason. I would love it if the basketball season didn't start till around Thanksgiving. I remember Maui used to be played right there around Thanksgiving, and the Great Alaska Shootout, when it was still a big deal, was right there around Thanksgiving. And that's kind of when you know, okay, the games are starting to get real now. And as somebody who's back in the baseball world, I wish college baseball didn't start until after the NCAA tournament. I wish they'd look at a season that started in April and went into the summer, because you got guys out there, and softball too, for that fact. You got guys and women out there who are playing games in 35 and 40 degree weather. And, you know, they all count toward your postseason and trying to put together a good year. And it's tough, you know, so, and you're asking fans to choose. You know, you're asking, you know, you're going to go watch baseball or softball. You're going to come to basketball. What are you going to do? Because we're playing all of it on the same day at the same time. There's a better mousetrap. But again, there are much smarter people in the world than me that need to get in a room and probably figure out what that is, if they want to figure out what that is.
So my last question, Neil, is give us a little bit about what you think Mississippi State has to do in this SEC tournament and going forward in the NCAA tournament. What do they got to do to make a run?
Well, in the short term here, you know, I mean, I think they need to find a way to really help themselves with regard to maybe having a chance to change that seed number in the NC2A tournament. I think they need to hang around to Friday. LSU's in a spot with their net ranking where State's probably going to lose a point or two in the net by stepping on the floor tonight. That's just the reality of what it is. Missouri, if State gets through LSU, is a team that is probably very similar with regard to where their rating is. But if you get to Florida, number 4. And now you're talking about being able to move the needle just a little bit by being in a game like that. Beyond that, I think what this tournament means for State going forward, Kelly, is they need to find a way to build some of that consistency that they've not had, especially on defense. You know, they've given up, I think it's an average of 95 in these last 4 losses, and they're better than that. It's just a matter of playing with the consistent effort, getting out there and getting after people. And Chris Jans has been all about that since he got to Mississippi State. I mean, he has been a defense-first guy, and I think he'll have him ready to go. I do. He lives for this time of year, loves it. I'd be surprised if it weren't otherwise. And you just got to come out here tonight and know you're playing a team that doesn't have the same motivation you do, because they've had a tough year, and they're going to play for some pride. And State's got a chance to play to keep its season going here and have another game in the SEC tournament, and then maybe get a chance to play a Missouri team that they feel like they could have played much better against a few weeks ago in Starkville.
Neil, you are a good man. I appreciate your coming on here and yapping with us. And by the way, there might not be smarter minds out there. You make a lot of sense with what you put out there. Let's see how it turns out.
Oh, there'd be somebody out there poke holes in everything I said today. I mean, again, it all comes down on where, you know, what you believe is what it is. But look, this is a great event, and none of what we talked about today should sour people on being a part of the SEC tournament. It shouldn't sour them on coming to Nashville or keeping this event here, because it's the perfect place to have it. And it's always one of the highlights. I tell people it's like going to the family reunion. You know, we all get to see one another in places, a game or two here or there during the year, but it's like coming to the family reunion, because all we do outside the games is we sit around, we eat, we talk to one another till we just can't stand it anymore. So, I mean, that's, you know, and that's what it is. So I always look forward to this week, and I hope it's a long one for Mississippi State so I can hang around for a few days.
That a baby. Thank you for doing this. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys. See you.
Good man right there. Neil Price, play-by-play voice of the Mississippi State Bulldogs. They play LSU tonight at 6 p.m. or thereabouts. After the break, Billy will have another March Madness scoreboard update. I'll tell you, it does not look good early for the Doors on 94.9 The Fan.
As we step into the new year, there's nothing more important than family and safety. If a car wreck or big truck accident turns your world upside down, Bart Durham Injury Law is here to help. We're local, we're experienced, and we're ready to fight for what you deserve. Call us anytime at 615-242-9000. Really wishing you a safe and happy 2025 from Bart Durham Injury Law.
Attention college basketball fans. Kentucky and Gonzaga will square off Friday night, December the 5th at Bridgestone Arena, and you won't want to miss it. Tickets are on sale to the public at this very moment at BridgestoneArena.com and on the Ticketmaster app. It's two of the best programs in all of college basketball, and they're playing right in the heart of downtown Nashville. Act now. Tickets will be gone shortly, so you better act accordingly. This is my buddy Stan Harrison from Apple Collision Centers. Recently, you've been talking to me about companies that have a fleet of trucks and they're always in need of repairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler.
Where can you see a saber-toothed tiger rappel from the rafters? How about a catfish fly? The biggest stars in Music City. Not to mention hockey's hottest ticket. The Predators win! Only in Smashville. See your Nashville Predators all season long at Bridgestone Arena. Single game tickets are on sale now at NashvillePredators.com. Let's go Preds!
If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today. PancoastBenefits.com or call them at 615-292-3400. JB's Poorhouse in Hermitage has one of the best sports bar setups around, and it'll play host to the George Plaster Show on Thursday, March the 20th. That's the first full day of March Madness. Large TVs, great hoops, terrific food, and friendly service. It's what JB's Poorhouse is all about. See you on March 20th for a day full of what I call adult spring break. Okay, we welcome all of you back. Been a crazy day watching a bunch of TVs and watching all the basketball action. Some of you are not as fortunate, so let's get you up to date with another March Madness scoreboard update. Here's Billy Derrick.
This update brought to you by Kentucky and Gonzaga. Coming up this next season on December 5th at Bridgestone Arena. Tickets go on sale. They're already on sale, actually, at bridgestonearena.com and on the Ticketmaster app. Already today, as I brought up earlier, Georgia Tech beats Virginia 66-60 in the ACC. Davidson over Richmond 69-65. Iowa State over Cincinnati in the Big 12 76-56. North Carolina beats Notre Dame 76-56 as well. Same exact score. Fordham over Rhode Island in the Atlantic 10 88-71. San Jose State 66. Wyoming 61. Grambling 65. Southern 62. Arkansas beats South Carolina 72-68. Right now, Texas all over Vandy 41-26. One of the worst halves I've seen Vandy play all season. So we'll see what happens. Colorado and West Virginia tied at 46 with just under 7 minutes to play there. Northwestern leads Minnesota 44-32 there in the Big Ten in the second half of that one. Butler leads Providence 34-31, 2:07 in the first half there. Nevada all over Fresno State 12-2, 6 minutes into that one. LaSalle leads UMass 3-2 in the A10. So that's
that
what
one
we got.
Just starting. Kelly, you'd be surprised. A lot of the questions you asked Neil got yapped about a lot today. People looking around going, yeah, it's the system, but it ain't sustainable.
I hear you hear that from everybody. You hear that from so many people, but who's to say it's not sustainable? And I agree. I don't think it is. I don't think that. I think the fans are going to start at some point. I don't know if the right word is rebelling, but like when you're paying, like when the kid is going to LSU to play football, and then Michigan wants him, and they tell him they're going to pay him $12 million. That's we've gotten the college and the pro deal totally out of hand. And I've always said it, George. The kids need something. I was a college athlete who got a scholarship. I was there with guys that didn't get or that got scholarships, but they didn't have much money. And kids need something. But when you talk about millions and millions and millions of dollars, George, I don't know how it's sustainable either. Like, I was going to ask Neil because we've talked about this, but how do you keep going back to the same donors over and over? And he even said it, when you go to one, well, then he's probably going to be wanting something, and he's going to want where his money's going. He's going to want some production out of his money. So I don't know, George. It's just a tough ask. It's a tough deal. I think people are going to start doing what UT did. They're going to start putting it into the prices, which always goes back to the consumers. I don't know how it's sustainable either, but right now college football is on a high. College basketball is on a high, especially in the SEC right now. Baseball, I heard Paul Feinbaum say a couple of weeks ago, basketball is really good, but baseball is even better. So we have the baseball season coming up. So it's, I don't know. I just hate that this has come to something that is so good, so right, so great with the world. Everybody loves college sports. It's amateurism, and now they've taken that out of it. I don't know.
Well, take, for instance, one of the teams that played in game one today, Arkansas Razorbacks. Arkansas's got about a 55-station radio network inside that state. And remember, in that state, they're essentially the only game in town other than UALR a little bit in hoops. They sold out Bud Walton completely this year, essentially 19,000 season tickets. They're drawing 5 figures in baseball, 10,000 plus. They had 10,000 last night and I don't mean to disparage anybody, but kind of a meaningless midweek baseball game. And yet Arkansas, like all these other schools, searching for every last dime they can get. And you're there going, okay, you're selling more season tickets in basketball. By the way, they're paying Calipari's staff an absolute buttload of money. And that's going to be the next thing that's going to happen is that schools are going to go to coaches and say, you know, you're making 4.5. You want more NIL money? Here, we'll cut you to 2.5, and we'll take that other 2 and we'll put it in there. How about that?
I don't know if that's going to go over, George.
I don't know that it is either, but I'm telling you, this is what college ADs, as they're looking at this potential settlement with the court, that's the kind of stuff they're talking about.
And you look at the NCAA and you look at football, like big-time programs like Ohio State, Alabama, UT, Clemson, Michigan, all those teams, they actually make a little bit of a profit. But most teams don't. Like most teams don't make a profit when it comes to that. So now they're even struggling with that. Now they got to pay their coaches. Now they got to pay the players. Like I don't know, George. It's everybody says it's unsustainable, and I kind of agree. But until it comes to that point, nobody really knows. And hopefully, just like Neil said, maybe smarter minds come together and they'll fix the problem. But right now it's not a problem. Right now, everybody seems like they're loving it. The competition's great. The transfer portal, and I was talking to Philip Hutchinson last night at the game, and we were talking about Lipscomb, the boys, and we're happy for them. And he was talking about, and I understand this too, because there's some good things about the transfer portal, and there's some awful things about the transfer portal. If you're a kid just trying to make a bunch of money and that's what you're in it for, you don't love the game, you're just you got a physique talking about football, and you can go other places, and you're doing it for that. That's just no good. Now, if you're you're a guy that comes in, like when I played 4 years at Middle, like there were guys that came in that were recruited by Middle, and I'm thinking of one right now that was one of my really good friends, but he was a great high school player, but he just never sometimes the level from high school to college is a big jump for guys, and then college to the pros is a big jump for guys. But when you got a high school kid that was Mr. Everything in his hometown, and then he comes to college, and Coach Donnelly wrote him, he just didn't pan out. But that's where the transfer portal can be good, because hey, he can become a disgruntled employee his second year in, and he can start becoming a cancer on the team. And instead of keeping him, he can hit the transfer portal and go somewhere else. That's the good thing about the transfer. There's other reasons, but I just, man, it's a different time. I'm glad I played when I did. I'm not saying that it's going to go away, but I worry about people finally getting fed up to the point saying, I'm not going to watch this anymore because I'm tired of athletics is like we don't pay teachers, we don't pay firemen, we don't pay policemen enough money, and then we're giving all these young kids millions and millions of dollars just to play a sport. And I get it, I understand that, but I don't know. It just seems like it's upside down to me, George.
Here's another issue that's getting talked about a bunch. For instance, Chad Baker-Mazara at Auburn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What is he? 46 years old, got an AARP card. Billy, what is he? 24, 25?
Yeah, something like that.
And he's about to petition the NCAA for an extra year. And I heard Josh Pazner, the former University of Memphis coach, go off on a halftime show a couple of nights ago about it. And he's absolutely right. College is meant for 18 to maybe 23-year-olds. But when I hear all this 26-year-old and played 192 games, and good Lord, what are we doing?
I'm with you. I'm with you, George. But just like Tony's talked about, I don't know what the NCAA is going to do next month, but it's possible that they give 5 years and the redshirt year don't count. So,
Kelly, stop there. We're going over to Bridgestone. Joey Dwyer joins us at halftime of what right now is a rout. Texas by 15 over Vandy. Joey, what is going on with them?
I mean, George, they're completely out of sync. In a lot of ways, I think Vandy's lucky to only be down 16 right now, 41-25, the halftime score. Just too much selfish play, I think. I don't think the ball's moving enough. You saw MJ Collins dribble it off his foot out of bounds. Jason Edwards turned it over kind of in a similar way. And then you look at the foul trouble. I think that's a big story as well. Jalen Carey up to 3 with 2 of them coming on the 3-point line. That can't happen. Devin McLaughlin got up to 2 fouls before the break. One of those was about 94 feet away from the basket. Those things can't happen if Vanderbilt wants to win a game like this. Chris Von Yonen in foul trouble. A.J. Hilliard in foul trouble. Just not much going for Vanderbilt right now. And you think that they've got to turn it around to even have a chance in this game. You're not even going to stay within 20 playing like that.
Joey, there's been the belief, and I've certainly thought it, that they're in, but a double-digit to 25-point loss to Texas, if that were to happen, does the committee look at that and say, wait a minute, what do we got here?
Yeah, I don't think they're not in if they lose. I think they'll get in regardless. I think the danger that they're in if they really let this get out of hand here is you could be going to Dayton, and I do think that there would have to be a few bid stealers for that to happen, but your net would probably tank if that happens. And obviously, I think the bigger thing, even than seeding or Dayton or anything like that, is you're going into the NCAA tournament, your most important games of the year, the most important games in program history in a few years, playing your worst basketball of the season, and you want to be trending up at this point. Lenny Acuff says it time and time again, and it doesn't feel like Vanderbilt's doing that right now. It's got to find itself. It's not playing like Vanderbilt has throughout a lot of the year. It said it on Saturday. It's got to get its swagger back, and still saying it, George.
On the other hand, if Texas were to win, it sets up the ultimate grudge battle. A&M and Texas, and they hate each other.
That's right. I think it would be interesting, but obviously I think most of the listeners hoping Vandy can find a way to come back. They've had a couple good second halves throughout the year, but generally have been better in the first than the second. But you think the field lines up pretty well for Texas and Vandy if they can win today. Just feels like this is maybe the weaker side of the bracket until you get to Auburn. So should be an interesting half coming here and an interesting couple of days on this side of it.
Joey Dwyer reporting live from Bridgestone Arena. Joey, thank you for the visit.
Yeah, thanks, George. We'll talk soon.
Vandy down 15 at the half and in real trouble in the opening round of the SEC tournament. We'll go to the break. We'll have stat of the day. I'm sure we'll up our game because it's March Madness. And then Mike Organ, the hardest working man in Nashville sports from the Tennessean, will join us, and we'll talk about Eddie George's new job. This is 94.9 The Fan.
Hey, everybody. Chip Walters here from the Blue Raider Network. This week, Middle Tennessee basketball in Huntsville, Alabama for the Conference USA Basketball Championships. It all gets underway Thursday night at 8 o'clock. We'll have the pregame show at 7:30 as the Blue Raiders get set to take on the Bulldogs of Louisiana Tech.
93.3 FM. Totally hits. Totally Nashville.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
It's clear that Luka has breathed new life into this Lakers franchise, and LeBron James has been energized by it. Guys, starting to get my hopes up.
Oh, no.
I'm starting to get my hopes up. I'm starting to believe. I'm now at the place where I expect a deep playoff run, where I expect the Lakers to be in the championship round.
Unsportsmanlike. Weekday morning starting at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN2. Earlier on Joe and Q.
Justin Herbert is not a second-year quarterback. Like, it's time to start getting something out of this guy if he's as great as we've been told for years. He's flashed it, but as you build up the offensive line, you have to build up the weaponry as well. And I know a lot of people link T. Higgins to the Chargers. Higgins is franchise tag. Devontae Adams makes a lot of sense to help that team out.
Joe and Q, weekdays from noon to 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app. On Clinton and Friends.
Saquon provides an element that is incomparable. I mean, I can't think of the last time we saw a running back that was that dynamic in terms of how they could change a game. Sure, you could have a player that you want to use in the same fashion. It's a copycat league. And maybe your head coaches of the world, your GMs of the world are going to look at that guy and say, you know what? Maybe we overthought this.
Clinton and Friends, weekdays from 10 to noon Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app. This is Freddie and Harry.
I'll give LeBron James credit for this, Harry Douglas. He's making your boy Freddie Coleman look good. I kept telling people as far back as 10 years ago, this is the best athlete that has ever played in the NBA. Oh, he wasn't better than so-and-so. Oh, he wasn't better than 50,000 points in his career.
What's the noise again, Fred?
That's what they sounded like. It was just like.
Check out more from Freddie and Harry weekdays at 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
The SEC tournament is here, and so is this week's Nashville's best deal of the week from Boom Boss Pizza and Watch Bar. Right now, get half off a $30 gift card at 949thefam.com/deals. But hurry, supplies won't last. With wall-to-wall TVs, ice-cold drinks, and mouth-watering pizza, Boom Boss is the best place to catch all the SEC tournament action. Heading to Bridgestone? Stop by Boom Boss East Nashville, just minutes away and home to the largest TV screen in East Nashville. And don't forget, get half off a $30 gift card now at 949thefam.com/deals while supplies last.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. All around the world on the Game Nashville app. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9 The Fan.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
We're talking with Mike Organ from the Tennessean coming right up. But first, stat of the day brought to you by Apple Collision Centers. You can find them in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. Give them a call, 615-754-9800, or log on to their website. That's applecollisioncenters.com. All right, as Vandy's getting walloped by Texas, we got a Vandy question. It may seem unlikely. This ain't happening. Vandy's looking to win the SEC tournament. When was the last time this happened?
Kelly, it was under Kevin Stallings, and it was down in New Orleans, and I think the year was 2012. They beat Kentucky in the final.
There you go, George.
You with
me? I believe in you, dog.
Do you really?
I believe in you. Yeah, absolutely.
Show me a winner.
2012.
Wow.
I feel like we've had that one before.
Down at the Superdome. Not the Superdome.
New Orleans Arena, I think was what it was called at the time.
Yeah, they beat Kentucky in the final.
Kentucky's only lost that year.
Ooh.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
They went 40-1.
Oh, wow.
40-1.
To this day, I will never, and there's a reason Kevin Stallings was crying after this game. I will never know how this happened, how Vandy beat that Kentucky team.
What I remember of it is tied with about 5 minutes left, and Vandy essentially won the final 5 minutes and secured the win.
Yeah.
Okay, let's head to the hardest working man in Nashville sports. That's the Tennessean's Mike Organ. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing good, George. How you doing? I'm had a little extra time today. Moved my time back with you guys about a half hour.
Well, it's because, I'm not going there. Let's just say I had to shift things around a little bit. I was about to go with something, and it just simply wasn't.
I thought you was going to give me it just means more.
It just means more.
I thought it was going to mean that he's just pushing. He's going to start pushing me back further and further till I'm just out of the time frame.
Well, if you hear that you're coming on at 5:15, assume that's a really bad sign. So, Mike,
that's what I was afraid of.
I want to get right into your backyard here. About a week and a half ago, I started hearing that Scott Loeffler at Bowling Green was the latest in a series of coaches trying to get the hell out of Dodge. And he was trying to get himself on as the quarterback coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. When it happened, all of a sudden, Eddie George popped into the picture, and before we knew it, he was Bowling Green's new coach. I know you've gotten a chance to talk to Eddie. What did he tell you about it?
Well, you're right, George. Loeffler was trying to get out of Bowling Green, and Eddie was trying to get out of Tennessee State. Now, for different reasons altogether, I don't know why Loeffler was trying to leave Bowling Green. I don't know that the quarterback's job for the Philadelphia Eagles, well, that is a Super Bowl champion. but I don't know that that's a better job than the Bowling Green head coach. But I do know that Eddie was trying to leave TSU because TSU's in such desperate financial straits, and we've talked about that several times on here with you. And so it was kind of a domino effect. One was trying to get out, and they both were trying to get out, and that's how they ended up where they are today a week later. Eddie, George, it's pretty amazing, but Eddie's would have been in his fifth year of his 5-year contract, and I'll tell you, it's so bad at Tennessee State that they may not have been able to extend Eddie if he had stayed. Now, so when you look at it that way, this really was kind of a blessing in disguise for TSU. It saved them the embarrassment of maybe having another decent season, good season, and then not being able to extend a coach, which would have been a huge embarrassment for them. So maybe it worked out for everybody involved. Eddie moves up to FBS, a good, tough conference. The MAC always has some pretty good teams. They like to run the ball in that conference. He's all about running the ball. So I think it's a good move for Eddie.
Mike, it would also appear that it's right in his bailiwick. Great star in the state of Ohio, legendary status. It should make a lot of sense for him.
I've told people, and I told a guy today, I can see Eddie George being the mayor of Nashville someday. He's beloved in this city. But as much as he's beloved in this city, it's not any more than he's beloved in that state. He's still a favorite son of Ohio State. He's back in that footprint. As you said, he's not that far away from Columbus. And this is just probably the nail that got it done for him was that it was Bowling Green in Ohio that takes him back to that state. He's still very well known. The high school kids that he'll recruit, look at first will be around Bowling Green. Now, they won't know who he is as much as their parents and their grandparents will, but he proved that being well known amongst parents and grandparents works when it comes to recruiting, because he recruited some very good players at Tennessee State, even though the kids that played, that he recruited, were not alive when he played. I don't know if you've thought about that, George, but kind of makes us feel old that the kids he recruited at Tennessee State were not alive when he played, had not yet been born when he was playing for the Titans.
Oh, it doesn't kind of make us feel old. It makes us feel old. Just being honest about it. So let's go to the TSU part of this. They've got no money. Any potential candidates with half a brain can figure that out. So doesn't Mickey Allen have to look internally to a couple of people on that staff who know exactly what they're walking into and offer it to one of them?
I know where you're going with that, George, and I don't know. I know that this worked out so well for them, hiring Eddie, making a big splash, that they would love to do that again. Go back to a former NFL player, former superstar, and do it again. But as you said, I don't think they have the money to do that. Unless you can find a superstar who has so much money, and those guys, as we all know, make a lot of money, but that would come cheap. Now, Eddie had made a lot of money, but he didn't come cheap. His salary was $400,000 a year with $100,000 in incentives, which made him one of the highest paid coaches in the FCS. So I think that Mickey would like to do it again, but I think what you're talking about is probably what will eventually happen. They will promote from within. I ran a list today in the newspaper and yesterday online of 6 candidates, a hot board basically, that came to mind for me right off the bat. And that included 3 players that fit what you're talking about, being promoted from within. And that's Brandon Fisher, Jeff Fisher's son, the defensive coordinator, who has done a marvelous job all 4 years there. The defense has been the strength of that team. Joe Bowden, a former linebacker for the Titans, played 8 seasons, played with Eddie, finished his career at Dallas like Eddie did. And Eddie promoted Joe from linebackers coach to associate head coach the second year after Jeff Fisher left because he needed somebody to lean on who had coaching experience. And with Jeff gone, the next most experienced coach, I believe, on that staff was Joe Bowden. And he relied on Joe the last 3 seasons to bounce things off with in that role. And then Travis Partridge, and I put these in order because I think this is how it probably would go. Brandon would be first, and then Bowden, and then Travis Partridge, the offensive coordinator, who finally got the offense in order this year, came over from UT Martin, which is a longtime OVC powerhouse, and got the offense in good condition this year, and did a really good job with a quarterback who had struggled the year before. So I think those 3 right there, they've got options. Considering their financial situation, if they can get those guys to stay, I think that might be what they better do.
Mike, last thing for me, and then I'll turn it to Kelly. How much pressure are they under to get this done quick based on potential transfers and players that on the existing roster are sitting there saying, I think I'm out of here. What don't they have to move quick?
No, absolutely. I know that Friday is the day that it hit the news cycle that Eddie was a finalist at Bowling Green, and by Sunday he was their coach, and by Monday I know that several players had reached out to TSU's athletics department and said, I'm hitting the portal. So, yeah, every day that goes by, they probably lose 2 or 3 more players. The uncertainty that's over there, even without Eddie leaving, there was going to be uncertainty because of the financial situation. So this just ramps that up a whole lot more. So I think you make a good point. I don't think Mickey's got a lot of time to mess around trying to make another big splash. I think he's out there coaching the team right now. He appointed himself the interim head coach. And, again, I don't know why. If I were him, I would have appointed either Brandon or Bowden that. But they need to act fast. They need to act in the next 2 weeks, I'd say.
Kelly?
Mike, so it's not funny, and I know people are going to be mad when I say this out there, but when you say UT is a powerhouse, or UT Martin is a powerhouse in the OVC, now Coach Donnelly, when I played, he would present them as if they were the Notre Dame Fighting Irish we were playing, but it was kind of an off week. So to hear you say that UT Martin is a powerhouse in the OVC is really wow. And they are. I mean, I understand that now, but when we played them, it was pretty much an off week.
Kelly, I covered an MTSU UT Martin game one time, and when I would cover MTSU, I would come down early in the fourth quarter and stand on the sidelines. I don't know why. I just like to do that. This was before the expansion, and it was conducive to just run down there and watch the game in the fourth quarter. So you guys are playing UT Martin, and the score is 66-3, and there's about a minute and 40 left, and Martin's got the ball, and they snap the ball, and the refs stop play and say holding on UT Martin. So they move them back 10 yards. So they run another play, holding UT Martin, back-to-back holding calls. Boots Donnelly loses his mind and starts screaming louder than I've ever screamed. He points to the scoreboard. He's upset that they've called 2 penalties on UT Martin, not on his team, but on UT Martin. He points to the scoreboard and says, do you guys know what the score is? Can we get this game over with? So that kind of falls into what you're talking about.
Hey, so talking about Eddie George, it's funny because I never know what we're going with, and then George goes with the Eddie George stuff. So let me ask you this: how many coaches is he taking off his staff with him to Bowling Green? Because You know, I've been around Eddie for a while. I never played with him. Eddie's such a low-key, calm. He seems like he's not a rebel rouser. I compare, coaches to Coach Donnelly, where Coach Donnelly was always up for the smoke, as these kids call it nowadays. But I just feel like Eddie is such a nice guy that sometimes he may have problems with conflict. How many guys has he taken with him, Mike? Do you know?
Well, Kelly, I think that this goes back to what we were talking about TSU, and this is why I didn't throw out that provided Brandon or Bowden or Partridge leave. It's my understanding that part of the stipulation for Eddie to take over Bowling Green was that he had to keep the entire staff intact at Bowling Green. And
really?
I was told by a TSU person yesterday that was indeed the fact. I was told that last Friday when I first heard the news that he was a finalist. And but that was just from another guy who had interviewed for the job, and they told him that. And but I've confirmed it pretty much that was the situation because it's so late in the game. They didn't want this staff to be put out on their rear ends looking for jobs at this point that aren't out there. And so that was part of the stipulation with the incoming coach. So that works well for everybody except for Eddie George. I mean, that works well for the Bowling Green staff. They're happy. The TSU people are happy because they keep their staff intact, but Eddie doesn't get to pick his own staff. Now, I think what Eddie's hoping for is, and I think they're already in spring practice, he's hoping that once they get through spring, some of these guys may leave on their own, and then he'll be able to bring some guys in. But to answer your question, nobody's going with him at this point.
Oh, wow. The familiarity kind of sucks for him. But okay, so
yeah, and Eddie's a loyal guy. When you were talking about Eddie's traits, that's the other thing. Eddie's very loyal. If you work hard and do your job, so he would have taken people with him.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get back to the TSU deal, and it's terrible that you have to talk about money, but that's where they're at right now. But how much longer do you think they can sustain this, Mike, or is it something where they might have to take a break for a little while and figure out what's going on? But can they sustain this with keeping a football team and an athletic department going?
Oh yeah, nothing's off the table, Kelly. Not having a football team is certainly a possibility. And just so you know, you can stay in the OVC without a football team. That's not a requirement for being a member of the OVC. In fact, that's why the OVC merged with the Big South last year, was because they didn't have enough football playing teams. So, there's a chance that you could drop football and make a great case for it because it loses money. In many years it loses money. That's a possibility. The school closing is not completely out of the realm of possibilities. There are a lot of things. I've heard that maybe they drop to a enrollment of 1,500, something like that, like a small NAIA school. And there's just there are a lot of possibilities at this point because we've been looking at this. It's going on a year now. I mean, August is when we first saw the cuts starting, and so this August will be 1 year. And I don't think they're any better off than they were when all that started.
And I'm not sure you even know this, Mike, but how did this get this bad for TSU?
Just poor money management over the years. They lost the trust of the state, and the state stopped giving them federal money, and that's where the $2.1 billion comes in. The state started deciding to give money that should have gone to TSU to other schools because they didn't trust TSU to do with it what they should, and just mismanagement over the years led to this, and it's dire. It's really dire. They had difficulty making payroll in November. And that's another thing when we talk about what George said about promoting from within, there's no guarantee that any of these guys want to stay here. I mean, they've been living this. They've known about it longer than any of us have. And, the school stopped putting the team up at a hotel the night before game. even for home games. They always stayed at the Millennium Maxwell House Hotel, and they told them they couldn't do that anymore. And then we went to the band. They couldn't, the extremely popular Aristocrats band stopped being able to travel with the team. And it was just one thing after another. So the staff has been living this. So I don't know how much they want to stick around other than just being able to put food on the table from month to month.
Yeah, so my last deal, let's stay with football, but what do you think about the Titans free agent signing so far?
You know what? And I'm going to be honest, I've gotten so wrapped up in this. And then on top of this, George and I were at the Lipscomb Atlantic Sun Championship Sunday to see Lipscomb earn a berth in the NCAA tournament. And the women, I don't know if you knew about this, but the women made it to the semifinals. So both had great seasons. And I say that in jest because Kelly's daughter is the all-time leading scorer at Lipscomb. And I've been doing that I haven't had a chance to stay up on the free agency other than to know that Van Jefferson is coming. And I like that. I liked his dad. I liked him as a high school player. His dad was an assistant coach for the Titans. And I like him coming back. It doesn't solve their wide receiver problems that seem to go back to as far back as we can remember. I mean, other than A.J. Brown's flash in the pan. But it is a guy that can be a 2 or a 3, I think, and get you some tough yards. And so I do like that. But beyond that, I don't know enough to talk about it, Kelly.
Well, hey, I appreciate you doing the stories on my daughter, and I think you're going to do a story on Will and her. I'm not sure, but I don't know if that's in the making, but I certainly appreciate that. So thanks, Mike.
Well, that's 2 really good athletes, so I may look into doing something on those 2 kids.
Nice.
See if you can find a way to get 94.9 in it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Hey,
don't see any problem with that at all.
That's awesome. George is shameless.
Exactly.
that was even by my standards, that was weak. Mike, thank you as always for the visit.
It's good to be with you guys, even if it was a little bit further back. Just don't move me too far back, George.
No, if it gets past 5 o'clock, you're in trouble.
Yeah, I got to start looking elsewhere. I'm going to be in the TSU situation.
Call Eddie. He seems to be able to pull rabbits out of hats.
That's true.
Hey, talk to you soon. Thank you, Mike. Okay, after the break, we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to get you a March Madness update, although I'll give you the heads up. The doors are getting smoked at Bridgestone. We will do the March Madness update. Then we will open it up and see where you all want to go. I need some red-blooded Americans who love tournament basketball at this time of year to step forward. Step forward and heal. You got that, Kelly?
George, if I played against Van Jefferson or his daddy, Sean Jefferson, does it mean that I'm old? Am I dating myself?
I think it's a bad sign. I really do. I think your AARP card's in the mail. 615-553-0933 is our number. Again, 615-553-0933. Billy has been working tirelessly on that scoreboard update that he's about to deliver. How else can people reach us?
Chat room open on YouTube. It's to the right of the screen. If you're watching there, you can also reach us on Twitter and Facebook as well.
By the way, Mike laid out some pretty heavy-duty stuff on TSU that even I didn't know. I had heard Eddie George's name at Kennesaw State, knew that he was looking around. Can you blame him? This is 94.9, The Fan.
New year, new priorities. Family and safety come first. If a car or truck accident disrupts your life, Bart Durham Injury Law is here to help. We're local, experienced, and ready to fight for you. Call 615-242-9000. Happy 2025 from Bart Durham Injury Law.
Attention college basketball fans. Kentucky and Gonzaga will square off Friday night, December the 5th at Bridgestone Arena, and you won't want to miss it. Tickets are on sale to the public at this very moment at bridgestonearena.com and on the Ticketmaster app. It's two of the best programs in all of college basketball, and they're playing right in the heart of downtown Nashville. Act now. Tickets will be gone shortly, so you better act accordingly. It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com. 5-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
The game is on the road as the SEC tournament continues in Nashville. Join us live from the Pub and Adult on Friday, March 14th from 9 to 6 p.m. Come watch some of the games with all of us. Your sports live here on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville Sports Network.
The George Plaster Show.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Okay, we are what is a beautiful Wednesday afternoon, not particularly for Vandy. They're getting smoked at Bridgestone. Let's get you a March Madness scoreboard update, and then to the phones we shall go.
This update brought to you by Kentucky and Gonzaga. Tickets on sale now for this game next year, December 5th at Bridgestone Arena. You can find it at bridgestonearena.com. Tickets, that is, and on the Ticketmaster app. All right, let's get to some finals from earlier today. Charlotte over Rice, 64-61 in the American. Georgia Tech beats Virginia in the ACC, 66-60. In the A-10, Davidson takes down Richmond, 69-65. It's Iowa State over Cincinnati in the Big 12, 76-56. Also in the Big 12, big upset by 16-seed Colorado over West Virginia earlier today, 67-60. North Carolina all over Notre Dame, 76-56. Fordham beats Rhode Island 88-71 in the A-10. San Jose State 66, Wyoming 61 in the Mountain West. In the SWAC, Grambling beats Southern in overtime 65-62. It's Arkansas earlier today over South Carolina 72-68. The Hogs advance to play Ole Miss tomorrow. The game's going on right now. Texas, as George just mentioned, all over Vandy at Bridgestone 59-42 with 9:28 to play in that one. Also, Northwestern over Minnesota right now, 69-62, 18 seconds left in that one. Looks like Northwestern will hold on. Butler leads Providence 54-45, 10 minutes to play in that one in the Big East. In the Mountain West, Nevada leads Fresno State 44-32 at the half. LaSalle leads UMass 39-30 in the A-10, and it's McNeese leading Lamar 24-18 early in that one in the Southland final.
Okay, we'll try to get you one more scoreboard update, March Madness style, near the end of the show. Derek in Antioch, welcome in to 94.9 The Fan.
Thanks for having me. I just wanted to talk about the conversation you all just had about the fund at Tennessee State. I'm not sure who that Mike guy was, but I'm just kind of flabbergasted at the bald-faced misinformation that he just came on here and said that money was being withheld because of trust loss with the state in Tennessee State. This was land grant federal funds that the state of Tennessee has been withholding from TSU since the 1960s. So all land grant universities, which would be like Tennessee State and in UT and all of these schools that are state schools that were given a land grant to start, were awarded funds, and the state of Tennessee was supposed to match those funds. And what happened with Tennessee State is they just took TSU's money, not only didn't match it, but didn't even give them the federal money and gave it to other schools just because they decided to. And we could all surmise why that decision was, but this has nothing to do with any loss of trust because of mismanagement. The state of Tennessee simply held TSU's money. And if you just think about it, it doesn't make any sense. $2.1 billion not being given to a school that was sent by the federal government. $2.1 billion. That is not having anything to do with the mismanagement at Tennessee State. I just want that to be clear.
Yeah, help me with this because, look, it's an area when we get into all the politics I don't know a lot about, and I'll admit up front I don't.
Right.
What do you think ends up happening? I mean, do they field a football team next year?
We certainly hope so. I mean, football is the lifeblood, just like for the rest of the South, particularly at Tennessee State. It is kind of the driver of alumni and the school and activity there. So I'd be shocked if there was not going to be a team fielded. I just couldn't imagine that not happening. But they should be working things out financially to where we could at least play football. And football, I think, brings in at least a little bit of money. So they should be able to make that happen. I'd be surprised if that didn't happen.
Well, I hope you're right, because one thing you've said that for sure is accurate. There's a pride level around football at Tennessee State going way, way back to Big John and all the things he got done back when I was growing up and would watch his TV coaches show on Channel 5 every Sunday morning. I would hate for it to go away. That would be an absolute travesty, be a tragedy.
We've been putting people in the NFL from TSU since Ed Too Tall Jones, and then I just heard Rogers Cromartie is getting put into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame. Just heard that announcement recently.
Right.
And so we have a proud tradition at Tennessee State, and we definitely would. It would be pretty devastating if we didn't have football there. That just would be a hole in the Tiger identity. But yeah, I just hope that we wouldn't have people going out putting out misinformation about something that's been happening for decades, having anything to do with recent mismanagement or anything of that sort. That just not even logical.
Derek, thank you for the call.
All right, thank you for the time.
I don't mean to wimp out when we get to politics. I'll admit I don't know much.
No, and I don't think Derek sounded like
I
he
don't
had
want to
some.
know much.
Yeah, that's right. Sometimes you don't want to know a lot, but Derek seemed like he had a thumb on everything that was going on. But I don't know. Who knows? It's just I'm like you though. It's a sad situation. And when Derek's talking about $2.1 billion and to give it to other schools, I don't know, man. I just remember the Middle Tennessee TSU rivalry that we had, and it was the start of the year every year. And I just remember the year that Tennessee State beat us. We could not stop Darrell Williams. He was a left-handed quarterback, and he was running all over Vanderbilt, and we couldn't stop him. And it was taking him 17 seconds to throw the ball because he would go to the left, to the right, to the left, and then he'd find somebody open. Well, you can't cover anybody like that. And I just remember, all those guys going, "We're gonna get a ring this year," and the next year they got slaughtered by somebody. And I was like, "Nah, it don't look that way." But for TSU to be in this situation, it's really sad, and I hope they do come out of it because that place has been around for a long time, and it means something. Tradition means something, like Derek was talking about, like you said, and it would just be sad if something happened to that school.
Kelly, let me ask you this: when you all played, because that's an interesting rivalry, MTSU and Tennessee State. What would it draw?
Oh, there were a lot of people there. We played it at Vanderbilt,
Right?
And I don't remember what the draw was, George. I know that I saw when MTSU opened their new stadium, and I think Coach Donnelly was the AD, or he might have even been the coach. I think he was AD, but I'm not sure. But I just remember seeing pictures because the first game was Tennessee State against Middle, and that stadium was pretty much full. So, I don't know if we've ever had a crowd like that again, but that rivalry meant so much. And I just remember the year after they beat us in Vanderbilt Stadium, we had to go to Hell Stadium, and we smoked them. We were so ready to play. We smoked them at their place, but I don't remember what it drew, but I know that there was a lot of attention on that game, and I know every time we played, even when we played at Hell Stadium, it was a sellout. So there were a lot of people that were interested in that game, and that's the things that I know that Middle's moved on and gone to Conference USA, but like the TSUs and the Tennessee Techs, I get they're smaller schools now, but people were interested in those games. People were interested in those rivalries, and it brought people to watch the games. And now when you're playing poor UL Monroe, and you're playing New Mexico State, like nobody, like there's nothing. I don't know. It's just tough to get any enthusiasm with your fans about teams like that.
Tony in Nolensville is up next. Tony, what do you got for us?
Thank you yesterday for running the speakers show later on the thing. I got to see it yesterday evening when I come home. I really appreciate you doing that. Thank you.
Absolutely. We enjoyed putting it on. They were great. The panel was terrific.
They were great. That was fantastic. It really was. Kelly, yesterday, of course, I've done told y'all I had to go to Fayetteville to go get my real ID.
There's nothing changed since the last time you were there, Tony.
If I can borrow a Clay term there.
Say that again. Say that again.
I saw. Do what, Kelly?
I said, say that again. I didn't hear you. I was talking over you. I said, nothing's changed since the last time you've been there.
If I could borrow, that was the first time I've actually been to Fayetteville. And if I can borrow Clay's term, I want to say to you, Hoss, that was the first time I've seen some of that country. It was beautiful country. But, George, our navigation was taking us down Lover's Lane, taking us down Trudeau Boulevard or something, and Deer Trace. I told Amy, I said, I've got to, if something happens to us, I've got to drop the name Kelly Holcomb because surely it'll save us down there.
It'll save you, I promise.
Did it do any good?
Well, let me say this, George. We went to Marvin's. Great place, Kelly. Thank you. And got to talk to one of the waitresses, and I said, I've got an acquaintance, a friend of ours. I said, the guy down here, I said, Kelly Holcomb. And when I said that name, it was like E.F. Hutton in that restaurant. It just got quiet.
That's right, Tony. That's right. Key to the city, baby. I got it.
Kelly's got a good name down there, and he's well thought of. And I actually got to talking to some guys beside us at a table, and it was good. It was refreshing. Kelly, think a lot of Mr. Holcomb there, and they said, as one lady put it, our pro football player. I said, yes,
That's
ma'am.
right.
I said he's really a great guy. And I said the way things are going, he's really turned into a great dad. So I wanted you to know that.
Thank you, Tony. Appreciate it.
Is he looking for a loan?
No, Kelly, you left off a zero on that check.
Wow.
Sorry.
This deal with Vanderbilt today, I'm just as flabbergasted, dumbfounded. I don't know even what to think about it. I don't know if someone's even been bought out to throw the game. I mean, I've had so many crazy thoughts to go through my mind to sit here and see a team go and we talked about it Monday. Didn't like what we had seen, how they've been playing the last couple of games, and it has transformed the transition over now into the tournament. And whatever's going on, they need to get it fixed. Otherwise, it's going to be a one and done in the tournament. I was hoping for better, but I don't know if this team has just gotten tired or what, but it's not looking good what we've seen in the last 3 games, including today. I'll let y'all talk about that a little bit and whatnot. But I wanted to just touch on that, George. Thank you. Kelly, you're still revered highly and faithful. And Billy, good job on getting the echo worked out. I had to mute it there for a little while. Good job. I'll tell you guys.
Tony.
Muting us can be a good thing. So, Billy, if you look through the history of when the SEC tournament got reinstated in 79, Vandy has laid more eggs in this tournament in the opening round. I used to make the joke that we would be out of the tournament just as Kentucky was arriving. Hey, good luck to you guys. Yeah, we're going home. There's been a lot of that, and I don't pretend to know why. This team has shown nothing today.
There's no sense of urgency, no fight. There's no anything. They're not hitting open shots. They've had wide open threes that haven't gone down. And Tony's right. They keep playing like this. This is their second to last game of the season. I mean, they're not going to beat anybody in the tournament playing like this. And I don't know. I'm dumbfounded too.
Yeah.
I mean, they the way they were playing. I mean, you beat 3 straight top 25 teams, 2 straight top 15 teams, and maybe they know they're in the tournament and it'll be different in the tournament. But and Texas is playing desperate, which is what you're probably trying to get at here, Kelly. Yes. But still, I mean, I can't. I thought they'd come out with more fights, but it's 3 games now that they've looked awful.
I like it. It's human nature, though. Don't y'all think it's human nature when you're pretty sure you're going to make the NCAA tournament and Texas is fighting for their life? They've got to win, and they've got to win a couple of games just to get in. You got a team that is really hungry and a team that is kind of satisfied with where they're at right now, and that's kind of tough as a coach to get those guys mentally prepared, because everybody's telling you, hey, even if you go out losing in the first round of the SEC tournament, you're still going to make the tournament. So that's hard to overcome if you're a coach.
Well, what now may be in play, Dateline, Dayton, Ohio.
Yeah.
That might be where they're headed.
Well, that was the thing. Arkansas rolled them about a week ago. Georgia rolled them. And
in
now,
the second half,
now Texas rolling them. I mean, they haven't really been very competitive. And so that was kind of the worst case scenario here. Well, Dayton might still be an opportunity for them, a possibility if they get blown out by Texas. Well, they're getting blown out by Texas.
Texas may still need a win tomorrow against A&M. A&M would love nothing better than to stick it down
Send them
Texas's
home.
throat and send them to the NIT, baby. The not invited tournament. We'll go to the break.
Wow.
And
wow,
then,
George.
Yeah, we'll clean up a few messes that we've created. And we'll have, of course, we'll have plaster bet of the day. You better believe
Road to
it.
Excellence, right?
Well,
Road to
no
Excellence.
questions. No question. Who did I have last night?
St. Mary's, I'm sure.
Oh, God, that's right.
No, you had Pepperdine to cover, and I think they did.
That was on Monday. You're right.
That was Monday.
Okay. We didn't do one yesterday.
Oh,
I would have had St. Mary's. We'll go to the break. This is 94.9, The Fan.
As we step into the new year, there's nothing more important than family and safety. If a car wreck or big truck accident turns your world upside down, Bart Durham Injury Law is here to help. We're local, we're experienced, and we're ready to fight for what you deserve. Call us anytime at 615-242-9000. Really wishing you a safe and happy 2025 from Bart Durham Injury Law.
Attention college basketball fans. Kentucky and Gonzaga will square off Friday night, December the 5th at Bridgestone Arena, and you won't want to miss it. Tickets are on sale to the public at this very moment at bridgestonearena.com and on the Ticketmaster app. It's two of the best programs in all of college basketball, and they're playing right in the heart of downtown Nashville. Act now. Tickets will be gone shortly, so you better act accordingly. This is my buddy Stan Harrison from Apple Collision Centers. Recently, you've been talking to me about companies that have a fleet of trucks and they're always in need of repairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler.
Where can you see a saber-toothed tiger rappel from the rafters? How about a catfish fly? The biggest stars in Music City. Not to mention hockey's hottest ticket.
The Predators win!
Only in Smashville. See your Nashville Predators all season long at Bridgestone Arena. Single game tickets are on sale now at NashvillePredators.com. Let's go, Preds!
If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today. PancoastBenefits.com or call them at 615-292-3400. JB's Poorhouse in Hermitage has one of the best sports bar setups around, and it'll play host to the George Plaster Show on Thursday, March the 20th. That's the first full day of March Madness. Large TVs, great hoops, terrific food, and friendly service. It's what JB's Poorhouse is all about. See you on March 20th for a day full of what I call adult spring break. Well, it's hard to ever say with certainty when it comes to college basketball and what the committee is thinking, because you never quite know what the criteria is or was until after the fact when the chairman gets on there, and from year to year they make up different criteria, so you never know what it is really going on in that room. But, Kelly, it does feel like tonight Oklahoma, Georgia is absolutely an elimination game for Oklahoma, and it might be for Georgia.
I kind of think the same thing, and I'm kind of wondering now, you brought it up earlier about Vanderbilt. Like, if they keep getting blown out, what is the score now, Billy?
It's 68-55, Texas.
Okay, so it's
about 4.5 to play.
Yeah, 4.5 to play. So that's not too bad. So I don't know, but I agree with you, George. I think that is the SEC tournament. I've talked about it all week, but it means something to Georgia, Oklahoma, Texas, South Carolina, maybe Vanderbilt. I don't know. It means something to those teams.
Yeah.
But you're right, George. I think it could be. Georgia's had some pretty good wins. Oklahoma won a couple of big games too when they needed it. So you're right. It could be an elimination game for both of these teams.
So here's one, Kelly, you've probably never thought of. So Kentucky plays tomorrow night. And over the years, the success for downtown Nashville has been a long stay by Kentucky. Yep. This is one where on Thursday night, the people that own sports bars downtown, they're sitting there going, "Go Big Blue."
Oh yeah, they're loving it right now.
Every one of them.
It brings so many people, especially Kentucky people, because Kentucky people show up everywhere. It's amazing what they do in basketball, and this SEC tournament, man, it keeps getting bigger each and every year. And with the competition the way it is in the SEC this year, I mean, you couldn't have a better place to play it, a better city to play it, a better city that puts big things on. It's crazy what Nashville does, and it's crazy what the SEC tournament has turned into in Nashville.
I'd be willing to bet there's a huge portion of you take all the fans that come to Bridgestone over the next 2, 3, 4 days, a lot of them live in Nashville. I'd be willing to bet a good majority of them. Now, there's a lot coming from Louisville, Lexington, Ole Miss, Arkansas, right? But I think y'all would be surprised how many of them say, "Oh no, we live in Nashville," or "We live in Murfreesboro, we live in Franklin." Like, it's such a melting pot, which is why it's such a perfect spot.
Well, so South Carolina has already lost. Vandy sure looks like they're going to lose, down 13 with a little more than 4 minutes to play. What ends up happening, Kelly, is as those teams want to sell, Kentucky wants to buy. I'll be interested to see if this is a year where Kentucky has less because so many other schools are interested, or is it still blue mist, and blue mist?
I still think it's blue mist. And I'm going to ask y'all what y'all think about the question that I asked the other day to somebody. I think it was Taylor, about Kentucky. Like, Mark Pope has done such a good job of bringing this together. And Kentucky's been kind of the upper echelon. They're the team of the SEC. They've been the mainstay for decades. And now with the SEC getting better, does Kentucky exalt to the top again, or are they going to be just middle of the road having to compete? I mean, can Mark Pope get them to the level that they used to be, where they were the upper tier of the SEC?
As long as Bruce Pearl's at Auburn and Nate Oates is at Alabama and Todd Golden's at Florida, it's going to be tough for Kentucky to go back to that elite program that leads the pack. I mean, they'll get better. Like, they're going to be better next year, but I don't think they rise above. Maybe there's specific years, but there's so many other good coaches now, George, that it's going to be tough for even Kentucky.
So the first thing, Taylor put the answer out there, right? The first thing he did was get the fan base back. The fan base up there had gotten tired of Calipari preaching to them and telling them how they need to behave. I don't think they took to that very well.
I think that's a reason there could be a lot more Kentucky fans even than we've seen in the last 3 or 4 years.
Could be. The other thing, Kelly, that had gone on, obviously, they had dropped a notch.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
They were not as dominant as they were when he won a national title at Kentucky, which has led smart Alex like me to say, look, if you're looking for him to outcoach anybody, He's not. He never has, and he never will. Now, is he a Hall of Fame recruiter? Absolutely. Is he a Hall of Fame motivator? Absolutely. Bench coach? Please. If you're looking for him to elevate talent past what it is, it's not going to happen.
Look again.
So is Kentucky, or is this like what I talk about all the time when you got the NIL coming? Does it matter? Like, people grow up. Like those two kids that are from Kentucky that he went out and got this year.
Right.
They grew up. They wanted to play at Kentucky. But is it a big draw? Because used to, people wanted to play at Kentucky. People wanted to play at Duke, at North Carolina. And now, is it that draw, or is it the money?
That's a really good question, and I'm afraid the answer becomes more the money. Now, it may be for the Kentucky kid that grew up in that state, it may still be the allure. The rest of them, it's all about money. As a Division I coach said to me a while back, that he had not heard a parent ask a question about academics in 2 years. Academics, not even on the table anymore. It's all about moolah.
It is, and that's unfortunate. That's really unfortunate, but that's where we are.
Okay, Billy, let's go ahead and do plaster bet of the day, and then we'll get one more March Madness update.
All right, bet of the day brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law. We take a look at what happened on Monday for the bet. Didn't have one yesterday, as Pepperdine did cover the 19.5, which was a ridiculous line.
Well, yeah, but they were down 28 at one point.
I know. I was watching it, and
Okay,
I was like,
wow.
George, wow.
Key phrase, backdoor cover. So let's get to tonight. I have 3 plays. I know you breathlessly await these. I don't know why I think this, but I've just got a hunch that K-State, which is fighting for its tournament life, will play well tonight against a shorthanded Baylor. I'm taking Kansas State in the Big 12 tournament plus 6.5. Let's go Big 10. I'm going Rutgers. I like Rutgers' toughness. USC, on the other hand, French pastry. How do we say Rutgers?
Rutgers.
Thank you. And finally, in a game that really matters, go Georgia Bulldogs.
It's a hard one to pick right here.
This is a really hard one to pick. But you know what, Kelly, I have guts.
Okay.
Screw
no guts, no blue chips.
Absolutely. We're going Georgia Bulldogs. Those are my 3. K-State, Ruptures. Is that how we say it?
Ruptures, yes, Ruptures.
And Georgia. That's our 3. Billy, real quickly, what do we got?
All right, scoreboard update around the country. Again, brought to you by Kentucky and Gonzaga. Coming up next season, December the 5th, here at Bridgestone Arena. Tickets at bridgestonearena.com. Texas currently leads Vanderbilt 72-59 with just over 3 minutes to play. So Longhorns up by 13 in that one. Butler leads Providence to 73-65, 43 seconds left in that one in the Big East. Nevada up big on Fresno State, 56-40 in the second half of the Mountain West tournament. UMass leads LaSalle by 2, 47-45 in the A10. Also, McNeese leads Lamar at the half, 33-30. Earlier today at Bridgestone Arena, Arkansas took down South Carolina 72-68. They will play Ole Miss tomorrow in the SEC tournament. So that's what we've got.
Arkansas petitioning the league to turn it into a 30-minute game.
I mean, this Texas Vandy, this is probably going to be Vandy cut it to 11. So this is going to be a long 2.5 minutes.
It might be. They might finish right about the time I get down there.
Yeah, seriously.
Okay, so tomorrow, college basketball insiders, Ron Bargatze, Lee Fowler. We'll have a guest by way of the SEC tournament as well. Kelly, try to behave until then.
George, I got another question for you. Yesterday, it was a successful deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. Did you have to keep
really good?
Did you have to wake Coach B up at some point, or was he good?
No, he's very disgusted with you. He's made clear that your behavior is just not acceptable.
I love me some Coach B. He's a good sport.
He'll join us tomorrow. Kelly, I hope you will too.
Yes, sir. Hopefully, Lord willing.
But if not, the show must go on.
It must go on, and you've already said that Billy doesn't care if I come back on or not. So
no,
we'll see.
In fact, I think he's leaning to just permanently Xing you out. Hey, we're out of here for today. Hope if you're headed to the tournament tonight, drive safely, find a cheap place to park. My reaction to that, good luck. See you tomorrow.